and welcome to Time to Process. This is Larissa Holmes.
Hi.
And I'm very excited to have her on because, you guys, she's an author. Yes, she's a freaking author. I actually feel honored that I know an author.
Oh my goodness, no.
Like somebody who's actually written books. I've literally always said, and I think I told you this before, but that would be like my one wish in life. Like if there's anything I could do, it would be write a book.
You could do it.
I want to write a book. I think I told you this too, about all the parenting things that no one tells you about.
Yes.
You know, like you have to cook dinner every night for the rest of
your life.
Their lives. Yes. I'm like, they have to eat 3 meals a day. Like, all that kind of stuff. So
that'd be funny though. People would love it.
Or also write down all the things that don't do this when you get old. Because sometimes old people say things that you're like, oh, you don't really have a filter. So, basically just, let's see, what's the word? Guidelines for getting older or just life in general. Hey, if you want to be a parent, this is, this
well,
is the
I didn't ever set out to be an author, so you can be one.
Oh, I'm very excited. Okay, because I want to hear the story. So I know Larissa because I do her hair. So she's another one of my fantastic clients, you guys. I told you, I have the best people in my life. But also, we have friends of friends because we met through Sharon. Sharon Peterson is one of our good friends. She is married to my husband's best friend from growing up in Chicago. So it's kind of like around the circle, but that is kind of how we originally got connected, right?
Yeah.
And it's been a few years since I've done your hair. How many years now?
I don't even know.
Actually, it's been a while. Probably longer than I think. Maybe 4 or 5 years.
I was going to say probably.
Yeah.
Probably 4, at least.
Yeah. I don't know. Okay. Well, okay. So give us a quick introduction to you. Who is Larissa Holmes?
Okay. I was born in California, but I don't claim it.
I did not know that.
So I have been here since 7th grade, so I claim Utah.
Okay.
And I love Utah.
Okay, wait, where in California?
Southern, it's a little town that no one's ever heard of called Yucca Valley. Yes.
Oh my gosh.
A real place.
It sounds like it should be in a book.
It's 45 minutes from Palm Springs, which is people kind of know that.
Oh, yes.
So just kind of the high desert.
Okay.
Nothing to write home about.
Yeah.
The town that I was from.
I love it.
But when I came to Utah, I love Utah.
Yeah.
And then I went to college here. That's how I met my husband. And I didn't do anything with writing in college. So that's another thing.
Oh my gosh. Okay. What did you study?
So I just did 2 years in just general studies. Because then I got married to my husband. Yeah. This month is actually we met 19 years ago in November.
Oh my gosh.
So we've been married for 18 and a half. Yes, if you do the math right. That's from the day we met to the day we got married was 6 months. But yeah, so I ended up just working and putting him through school because I didn't really know what I wanted to do.
Yep, totally. Yeah.
So I'm like, well, why do I keep going to school if I don't even know what I want to do? So anyways, and then I just worked for a while and then had 2 kids. My son is 13 and my daughter is 10.
So same age as my twins.
Yes.
7th grade.
And then I was just a stay-at-home mom. I shouldn't say just. I was a stay-at-home mom.
Listen.
Which is a really hard job.
It is a very, very, you have to cook dinner every night.
And then about 4 years ago, 3-4 years ago, I started writing. And so now I'm a stay-at-home mom and an author.
Okay, so do you feel like those, you just always had thoughts going through your mind of oh, this would make a good book?
Sometimes. I've always been an avid reader.
Okay.
So I've loved reading. I'll tell you a little something that I'm super proud of. No, not really. But I was from a town called Payson in Utah.
Yes.
And in our little Payson newspaper, I got put in the newspaper when I was in 2nd grade because I read 2,000 books.
Oh my gosh.
So I've always loved reading. And I think I've always had the imagination and all these stories kind of in my head. But I don't think I really thought of I should write this down.
Wait, 2nd grade? So you moved? Grade. Okay, I thought you...
So I went back and forth. So from 7th grade on, I've been here.
Yeah, okay, but before that, you moved back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
So we'd be in California and Utah, California and Utah.
2,000 books.
Yes.
Wow.
Books.
I was feeling so good about my 112 that I've done this year.
Well, I was in 2nd grade, so they probably were as long.
That's amazing.
See, I have a little newspaper clipping of me. So
that's way cool.
So I've always loved reading.
Okay.
And then when me and my husband got married, so 2006, we decided to make like a goals / bucket list item, a list of things we want to do. And I was just like, I think it'd be really cool to write a novel one day.
Yeah.
And just kind of put it out there in the universe. But then I didn't think anything of it. And then around 2010, 2011, I was like, I should like write this book. And so I did. I wrote a book that I didn't do anything with. But I just like wanted to cross it off my list. I wasn't like, I still wasn't thinking author or publishing or anything like that. I just wanted to write it and say I did it. And so I did. And then in 2019, my husband's like, you need to write a book that you want to actually like put out there.
Okay.
And I was like, I don't know.
Yeah. No, because that was kind of uncomfortable.
Yes. It's very vulnerable to put your work out there, for sure. And so finally, after a year of him pushing, 2020 happened. Obviously, the world shut down, and I was like, well, I guess I have time. My kids are really older, more independent, you know? And so I wrote my first book in May of 2020.
Okay.
And the one story turned into 4, which is my Lakeshore High series.
Yes.
We're
going to get into all that.
4 friends. And I was like, well, I kind of want to write her friends' stories too. So I wrote all 4 of them in 6 months. And again, the world was shut down, so it was a lot easier to handle. But I didn't want to put out my first one, so I was so scared that, you know, of the bad reviews, because you're going to get them no matter what.
Yes, you will.
And I was like, well, I just know if I get a bad review that I won't ever write the other stories. So I just want to finish the story.
Sure.
And I was just thinking, I'm not going to even I still was not thinking about author or writing or anything like that. I was just like, I'm just going to put them on Amazon and walk away.
Yeah.
Because my goal was just to publish a book. And Amazon's so great about, I mean, anyone can publish a book.
Okay.
And so I put them out there. I'm like getting ahead of us. Sorry.
No, it's okay. I will keep going. I want to hear all about all of this.
So I kind of just put them out there in November, actually, of 2021 is when I put them out. So it's like its 3-year anniversary. And I found the Bookstagram community. And Bookstagram is a part of Instagram where everyone talks about books. Mm-hmm. And you can find your genre. There's lots of different genres. I'm obviously.
Is it kind of like book talk?
Yes. But
okay.
Different. I mean, it's similar, but like it's
just
more like the book aesthetics
platform.
And like friends. And I don't really know much about book talk, but
cool. I don't either. So I don't either. I just jumped on the TikTok train literally in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So I know nothing.
Bookstagram is just like this little part of Instagram that's just so fun and everyone's so nice. And all just friends. It's just like it makes you feel all warm and fuzzy inside. Yes. Bookstagram is just amazing.
Totally.
So I found that and I started connecting with readers and I just fell in love with it. I'm like, oh my gosh, I think I want to do this. I think I want to be an author. And that's just kind of how it snowballed.
See, that's a fantastic introduction of who you are.
That's me. So now 10 books.
That's amazing.
And I have my 11th one coming out soon.
Oh my gosh. I know. That's why she is here, you guys, because she has a book that's being released at the end of this month, right?
Well, November 18th.
Oh, November 18th.
Is that 2 weeks? I should know this. I should know.
Oh my gosh, what is the date? I mean, today's November 4th.
So it comes out on Monday. So yeah, 2 weeks.
2 weeks, yeah.
My book comes out. So it's a Christmas novella.
And that's where, like, I think this podcast will come out next Sunday. So like a week or so in advance. Or maybe I did it for like the Sunday before your book came out. I can't remember. Well, I'll have to like look at the dates. But
whatever.
It's going to be fantastic, you guys. That's why we're like, I wanted to have you come on anyway. I talked to you about this a couple months ago, but like then since you were doing the book, I was like, this is fantastic. Yeah. Like perfect timing, all of the above. So, okay. So that is an introduction of Larissa. I really don't have that much to give you on my life update. We talked about Halloween, what our kids were doing. It was pure chaos. I feel like the last week has been absolute bonkers and I don't actually want to relive it. So yes, that was a little bit of a hidden gem right there. Okay. Let me get into my 5 favorite things because I do want to get into.
No, I want to hear your 5 favorite things.
Oh, these ones are good this time because have you realized lately how white we're getting already?
Yes, I have.
Oh my gosh. I'm like, it's November 4th. I don't think I had a tan past September 15th, actually. No, I guess it was kind of warm. Like, till like October 1st.
It got cooler and then it got hot again. And
yeah,
so it was like,
that's
you
true.
Put all your swimsuit stuff away and then it's like, but then it got hot again.
So I didn't feel like I was like going out or being in the yard even. No. I mean, I guess I did like a little bit of yard work, but so maybe my back and shoulders are tan, but not my legs.
Who sees that?
I know, who sees that? Oh, I already wore tights to church yesterday because I was like, listen, these gams have not seen the sun in a very long time. Okay, so my first thing on my list for my favorite things is it's Hawaiian Tropic. I actually came across it at TJ Maxx because y'all know I love TJ Maxx. But it's a sunless tanning lotion. So it's not like a foam or anything like that you have to do. It's like a gradual type thing. So you do put it on at night. I mean, I guess you don't have to. I like to do that. You have to just essentially like let it dry, which is interesting because I feel like most of those things do take a bit to dry, you know? So I just put it on just like lotion. It's just says like in a circular motion. And I'll just do like my legs and my arms and kind of shoulder. I don't usually typically do my face just because I can add bronzer.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you do sunless tanning stuff very often?
I don't.
I know.
I
really am not great with it. I used to get spray tans, but then they come off in the hot tub.
Oh yeah.
And I think I talked to your husband about that. We have chatted hot tubs in the past. But yeah, it was literally like taking it off and it was making the water gross. I know. So I can't do spray tans anymore. So this is like the next best thing because it's not heavy enough.
What
about it would come off?
Knuckles and like elbows?
Nope.
Like
literally nothing. Good. Yep.
Oh my
yes.
goodness,
I know. So that's where I'm like, it makes it enough where you can notice a little difference. And sometimes I'll just do it like 2 nights in a row, but then I won't do it for like a couple weeks. Oh, and I've even had girls at the salon be like, gosh, you look so tan today. I'm like, oh,
thank you.
Thank you. I actually did a sunless tanner last night. But again, it's just, I've heard that like Jergens has one that's kind of similar to that, but it's just enough to give a little glow without being orange. And that's the other thing. But yeah, like I rubbed into like my ankles and like through my toes and everything because I feel like a lot of times when you use a sunless tanner, you get
on the hands, wrists,
totally.
Feet, you know?
And I just wash my hands after and like that's it. No big deal. I literally have not ever had any like weird marks or anything. And my bottle's almost gone. Okay. Yeah. So I'll link it once we release the podcast. But okay, the next one is a fantastic heat protectant for your hair. And I've used this one at the salon too, but it's Redken Extreme Play Safe. Extreme Play Safe. I guess I don't even know how exactly to say that. 450 degrees. So that's like the longest name ever. I don't know why. But I was like writing out like, this is really called this. But it is a lotion that you put in your hair when it's damp. Okay. So a lot of times heat protectants, you spray it and then like curl it. This you put in so then it's protecting from the time you blow dry it. Plus curl or do whatever. And it goes up to 450 degrees.
You know what's crazy? I was just thinking about this because I don't use any heat protectant. Every time I'm like, oh my gosh, I should use it. And so like today I was like blow drying my hair and I was like, oh my gosh, I should do something. And so I was just thinking, I'm like, I don't have a heat protectant. And then here you are with your favorite.
I know. See, it was meant to be. It was meant to be. And this, and actually like, so yes, next time I see you, if you want me to get it for you, it's so good. And it smells really good. And it's one too that, you've seen me before too, like my slicked bun. Sometimes I'll put like a deep conditioner in it, or sometimes I'll use that because it's like I know it's just for a heat protectant, but it's like the thickness and everything of it is a really good smoothing consistency.
So multi-use.
Yes, multi-use. Yes, like I've used it in my daughter's hair when she is like playing softball and I need to do like a really slick pony and then I'll just do like bubble braids or whatever. But yeah, it's like a great consistency. So anyway, so it's fantastic. It's really, really good. Okay. This one is kind of funny. I feel like sometimes people get like sucked into subscriptions very easily, but this one I started years ago. I originally gave it as a gift. It's the Dollar Shave Club.
I have never heard of this.
Okay, so it's like it originally started as men's razors, right? And so I was like, oh, this is fantastic. It gets delivered every single month. And because it was always like, I'm running out of the razor heads or whatever, right? Like my husband would, and I'm like, I have to go get them or whatever. And then they started doing women's razors too. And I know that there's a lot of women's ones out there, like Billy, and anyway, there's a few different ones, but it's like a perfect mix of like a men's razor and a women's razor put together. Because I feel like sometimes a man's razor is better. Like it cuts better, right? Like, yeah. Like I feel like that sometimes the women's ones are like, this is not good enough. I don't know. So anyway, now they actually have it. I don't even do the subscription anymore because they sell through Amazon. Oh. And so I can do an Amazon subscription where I do the subscribe and save. Do you ever do that on Amazon?
A couple things like with supplements or something.
Okay, that's what I was gonna say. I don't do a ton. Same, I probably do like, I don't know, maybe like 5 to 8 things. But I do it for like my laundry soap and like that kind of
Like
stuff.
you're gonna buy it anyway.
Exactly. Toilet paper,
Mhm.
paper towels, that kind of stuff. Anyway, that's one I actually should do at some point too, is like the subscribe and save on Amazon. But it's so good. So the Dollar Shave Club razors, I love their razors. I have now bought them because a lot of times too, when you buy the starter pack, it gives you like 8 new razor heads. So you get like the razor, plus you get like a cover for the razor for travel, plus like 8 new heads, and it's like $12.
Wow. And
Anyway.
the subscription is just like they just send it to you like once a month, or like how often?
Or
are
you can
in
say it, well, because now you do it through Amazon, you can do it like every 2 to 3 or 4 months, or how you can set out however you want.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So you'll have to look at them
Yeah.
and see. I feel like it's one that like, I mean, when you look at like what the main men ones are, like Gillette, whatever the Mach something is, like I feel like there's always these like big names for them. These are just as good, if not better. Like, I just feel like they have like kind of cornered that market, and it's like consistent, and you're not having to change up like, oh, well, there's this latest and greatest razor. Like they've maybe changed the razor twice in the 5 years that we have been using them.
Wow.
But yeah, so and once again, because now like my son has one, like my husband has one, I have one, we can all share the new heads as well.
Yeah.
So then we're also like, okay, well, we can get like 4 every single month, and then we each just use one, and it gets consistently used up.
Yeah,
anyway, it's fantastic. I really, really like it. Because even before that too, I was just using like the disposable razors.
Yes.
Because those are, I'm like, it's easy to just get a pack of them, and no big deal. And then like my daughter uses them, and now I'm like, these are trash. Like, what am I doing with my life? Cutting myself.
Like,
that's what I'm doing.
Better than this.
Yes, I know. So my legs are very happy now. Okay, this is one that I feel like you're definitely going to feel nostalgic about this, but 3-barrel curling iron.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. So I consistently used one in high school.
Yes,
Didn't you?
Of course.
In fact, I do have a horror story about using one, because I was a cheerleader in high school, and so my hair was always done, like done, because I feel like we were cheering like every day. But of course, I always had to come home and kind of like re-prep for something else. And I don't know why I didn't know this, but you can't keep putting hairspray on and keep curling the same places. I literally like took a hunk on like at my middle part, put the 3-barrel thing in like this, and it literally just sizzled the whole thing off. Yeah. And I had like a little rooster tail. Anyway, it was terrible. It took forever to grow back. So I feel like I also had a little PTSD. And so whenever I like started using them again, I'm like, no, I'm not ready for this. But I love it because a lot of times I'll like divide my hair, say for instance, like in 4 sections, right? Like I'll do like the bottom. So like this, like the bottom here, and then I'll do like another one. And so like in 4 sections going up, right? And I'll do the bottom one with a 3-barrel. Then the next one I'll curl with the curling iron. Then the next one, a 3-barrel, and then the top curl.
Okay.
Because then when you like shake it all out and finger through it, it looks even more beachy because it has
the beachy look.
Exactly. Yeah. And it makes your hair look fuller.
Ooh,
because the 3-barrel gets
the height.
like, more
so
than
then you would put your heat protectant in beforehand.
Yes.
Or do you spray again?
No,
before like the 3-barrel.
See,
I don't know why I feel like the 3-barrel's like,
I know, so
killing my hair.
scary. Yes, so scary.
Versus like a curling iron.
So, and I also think too, when I do the 3-barrel, I for sure don't leave it in as long.
Yeah.
Like I'm like,
barely like kind of.
let's put, okay, and then also it doesn't look as like 3-barrel. It's like just more of a wave. Yes. But I actually don't even use a spray and heat protectant myself. I only use, like originally, in fact, one of the things I talked about a couple weeks ago on the podcast was a leave-in conditioner. It's the Pureology one, and it is also heat protectant. So it's a leave-in conditioner with like multiple benefits, and then it already is like starting you off on the right foot, right? So I do that. Then I put in the 450 Redken one. Then I blow dry it, and then I'll do, because I typically do the 3-barrel with the curling iron like after like 3 or 4 days.
Yeah.
Right? Like I blew dry my hair yesterday. I kind of like dampened it up and re-blew it dry it again today. And then I don't know. We'll see what the next couple days hold for us. But it'll usually be like in a few days. So I don't re-spray
Yeah, you
because
just,
I
it's
just
already
leave
in there.
it because it's already in there. Yeah. That does not mean that like you absolutely can spray it with something. I just haven't found a good spray heat protectant that I like that I don't feel like is making my hair damp to where you then sizzle it.
Yeah.
And I guess I just don't have the time to like spritz it all and then let it dry before I do that.
Yeah.
So maybe it's just me being lazy. You know what I mean?
Well, you're already taking the time to like
Yes.
crimp it or curl it. It's like you don't want to do an extra step.
Right. Anyway, but I love that we're like conjoining those two. So, okay. And then the last one, I was just saying how I had worn tights yesterday to church. Have you seen those fleece lined tights?
No.
Oh my gosh. They're totally like a China thing,
like-
I'm sure.
But they're like tights. Like
They are tights. It looks like your skin underneath, but it's because the
Oh.
fleece is skin colored.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
But like
So-
in Utah, oh my gosh. that's
They are
gonna be fantastic.
life-changing. Life-changing. So I got a pair last year and they were thicker, but they weren't thick enough.
Okay.
And I got a new pair this year that somebody else had shared like on their Instagram. They're from Amazon. And what I love is that the feet portion of them is still like just a normal tights.
Oh,
Like
so
a
then you
thin.
don't have like
So then it's
thick-
not so thick in your
Yeah.
shoes, which I was like, hey, that's a game changer. And then the fleece basically starts like at the ankle, like right up at the top of your foot. And then it's fleece all the way up. And one, it's snug enough that I felt like I was like, oh, I'm kind of feels like I'm wearing shapewear,
yeah, like
which I love.
a little tucked in.
Yes, a little tucked in. I felt like they were very shapely. And then, yeah, like literally it looked like I was wearing
Just
tights.
regular tights.
Yes, you couldn't see anything. And I was so warm the entire day.
That's amazing.
Like so cozy. Like I was worried that my legs would look thicker
Yeah.
because of that, but they didn't at all. I actually felt like they looked slimmer in them.
That's amazing.
I know.
Who thinks of these things?
I know. Geniuses.
That's a good
That's
one.
really,
That's-
I know. So I feel like it's one that I'm like, I know, because we're getting into the winter months, most of us, with the winter or with snow and stuff. But I was like, I could wear these every single time I have to wear a dress and be okay with it.
Yeah.
And they do have a few colors. I don't know exactly like how they would look like on everyone. I don't know if it's like a skin tone type thing, but they have like a caramel color. They have like a gray color, kind of like a charcoal gray.
Mhm.
So I just got the regular black. And for me, like I said, when I look at it, I'm like, oh, it matches my skin tone. Like it doesn't,
Yeah.
it looks like my legs.
Yeah.
You know? So anyway, but I'm willing to try the other ones,
Yeah.
buy
just
them and
because-
like see how they look. Yeah. Cause I'm like, it'd be so cute to kind of have that more like caramely color for different dresses. You know,
Yes.
'cause sometimes black tights can be so harsh.
Yes.
I don't
for
know.
Sure.
So anyway, that's my 5 favorite things.
I
won this week,
all 5 of those.
I know. Like I said, when I was like and I guess I've had a couple of weeks because one of the girls that I had done, anyway, I had separated her podcast into 2 weeks because it was like 2 hours.
Oh my
I
goodness.
know. So I had a little bit longer to think about this list, but that all things I've used in the last for sure 5 days. Like
Wow.
and use probably almost on a daily basis besides the tights. So I know. Anyway.
Amazing. I love it.
It's fantastic. So I will link everything. Okay, now we're gonna get back into this. Because I want to know, because obviously that was a fantastic introduction about you, and how you even got into the world of writing. So your first set of books, actually, no, I changed my mind. Let's hear about the Christmas one first.
Okay.
And then we'll go backwards. Because that is why we're here. Again, not the only reason, but that is the biggest one. This is your first, it's novella. Explain
Yes.
what a novella is.
So-
I had asked you a lot of questions before because I was like, what does that even mean?
A novella is just a shorter novel.
Oh, okay. And I
So-
know you told me once, so isn't it by pages?
It's more by words. So
okay.
a lot of authors, we go off of how many tens of thousands of words is it, right?
Okay.
So once it kind of hits 50,000 words, it's not considered a novella anymore.
Okay.
I would say around 40, maybe even 45,000 might be your cutoff. Once it's past that point, it's a novel.
Interesting. It's bigger.
So,
Okay.
I mean, it depends on, well, with page length, it depends on how large your book is, how large your print is. So it's kind of hard sometimes to go off
To
the
say
page
that.
number.
Sure.
But usually your novella is definitely going to be under 200 pages.
Okay. Okay.
Probably closer. I mean, you can have like really short novellas that are like 97 pages.
Oh my gosh.
All the way up to like 175. So
Okay,
it just
sure.
depends on what the author chooses to do.
Okay.
So mine is 150 pages. So that gives you a little bit of a thing. So yeah, this is my first novella. I didn't plan for it to be. I was going to write a full-length Christmas novel, but life got in the way, of course. Crazy, I know.
Oh, imagine that.
So all of a sudden I had this editorial date and I had to get it to my editor and I was like, there's just no way with what's going on in my life that I can write a full-length novel. And then I thought, you know what, at Christmas time, there's so many Christmas books. I mean,
I would rather
so many.
read a few shorter ones.
Yes.
I already have a list of like literally 25 that I want to read.
So I was like, I enjoy a short Christmas book.
Yep.
They're just cute and cozy and you just want to read the little romance and then read the next one.
Yes.
So I was like, well, I'll just do a novella instead. It actually worked really well with the story that I had planned. And I had a lot of fun with it. And so, so that's how the novella came to be.
So you, tell me what it's called, because you essentially are a romance author.
Yes.
But what is it called? Like, is it like a something romance author or no? Is it like, I can't remember. I feel like you listed it as something.
So I list this one under like rom-com. So like romantic comedy.
Okay, cool.
There's lots of different romance out there.
Okay.
But I have been kind of in the rom-com genre for a little while. I have different genres, so it's kind of confusing sometimes. But this one is a rom-com.
Okay. And I've read 75% of her books, you guys. So I know that they're good. And I know I'm easy to please when it comes to reading. I love, love, love to read. But they're good.
Oh, thank you.
Laugh out loud good. Things I've literally texted her about and been like, how did you even come up with this? I still, the talking through the air vents thing.
Yes.
I told so many people about that. I know. I love it.
So, it's fun when things just come to you and you don't plan it all the time.
Totally.
I've always wanted to write a Christmas book.
Okay.
And so I just felt like I didn't want another year to pass by. And I'm like, oh, I wish I had a Christmas book.
Yep.
So I just kind of wrote a shorter one and I put it out there. And I'm super excited. It's called Mistletoe Meetup.
Okay, Mistletoe Meetup.
Where the couple meets for the first time under the mistletoe. They meet on Christmas Eve.
Yes.
And then it has years where they meet every year for a little bit until they join each other in this small town called Mistletoe Meadows.
So cute.
We have some quirky, fun characters. We have like a meddling grandma, which she's fantastic. Which I wasn't planning on her either. She's gonna have a grandma, but I wasn't planning on her having a bigger role. But she definitely wanted one, and so she had her way. It's funny how characters do that. They do what they want. I'm just writing.
That's what I want to talk about. Like how that even like what does a day look like for you? Like when you're writing?
When I'm writing. So
do you just sit down? You like put on some headphones? Like
I love listening to music while I write.
Okay.
Some people can't do that. I write better.
I know. I feel like I'd be
music.
singing and typing out the words I was singing.
No, it helps me kind of get into the story. Like in my mind, I go into the story. Which maybe kind of sounds weird, almost like a virtual reality, if you will.
No, it does not sound weird at all. I can 100% imagine this.
And a lot of the times, the characters will take control of what's going on. Because sometimes I'll have an idea of where I'm going to go, and then the characters are like, "No, we're not going to do that," or "That's not what I'm doing." It's like, "Oh, I like this." And most of the time, I like it better anyway. They know what they're doing.
Well, you wonder if it's kind of like a subconscious thing.
Yeah, maybe.
Right? Tapping into that.
Tapping into a different, I don't know, characters. It's fun.
Well, but I like how you said like a virtual reality. Because again, I can totally imagine how that would be. I mean, think about like video games, for instance, where it's like you think you're going into one world, but then there's always like something else that you're like can get to from there.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's a lot of times you know your character even on like a video game.
Sure.
You know, like their personality a little bit, or I don't know. So when I sit down to write a book, I do a little bit of plotting. So you can either be a plotter or a pantser. Okay.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Or if you're somewhere in the middle, it's a plancer. Right? So those are all words. I am what's considered a plancer. So like I plot a little bit. Like I have like little, just in my head, I kind of know what I'm doing. But I don't sit there and like write out like a full outline.
Okay.
Because I do want to let the story go where it wants to go. I just have a general idea of what I'm doing. So sometimes I'll sit down and be like, okay, I know that they're going to be, for example, the Mistletoe Meadow one, like I know they're going to be at the Ugly Sweater Christmas dance.
Okay. Okay.
but like I don't know what's going to happen at the dance.
Okay.
So then I sit down and I put on my music and I just let it flow. I just sit down and sometimes she'll write and delete it all. But
really, and you told me once to you try to do how many words per day?
Yeah, it depends on what my goal is or how soon I have to get my book into my editor. But I write anywhere from 1,500 to 2,000 words a day. I try to do about 2,000. Sometimes I get more than that. Sometimes it'll be a great day and I did 4,000.
Wow.
So it just depends on the day and how the creativity is going.
And are you like a Monday through Friday?
Yes, I do it Monday through Friday while my kids are in school. I also try to do, being an author comes with a lot more than just writing.
Yes.
Especially when as an indie, like an independent author, I have to do all the marketing and
you have to like
all the
background
stuff of it.
I'm learning all of this while podcasting, you guys.
It's a lot, and so trying to balance that and like writing can be really hard.
Yeah,
but
totally.
Writing is definitely my favorite part.
Yes,
of it all.
One day we'll be millionaires when we can pay someone to do that stuff for us.
All right.
Amazing. Okay. So then, and was it like the same way with your other books? Like or do you feel like from the time you began, like till now, it flows differently how it did when you first started? Because I feel like I could sit down at a computer and just stare at the screen.
And sometimes I do.
Nothing's happening.
I have been staring at this for a while.
Sometimes
so when that happens, I feel like when I have a little bit of writer's block, it's either because I'm not going in the right direction or it's not from the right character's point of view.
Okay.
So like sometimes I plan that this chapter is going to be from the girl's point of view, but then I'm like, why isn't this working? Like, it's because it's from the guy's point of view. Sure. And then I switch it and all of a sudden it just flows.
It flows.
So usually there's a reason why I'm a little blocked and I have to just kind of figure out why that is. But
okay.
I call it marinate. I always am like, I need to marinate.
Yes.
So I have an idea that I want to get to somewhere, but I don't know how to get there. So I just think I marinate a lot in the shower. I have to think it through, pretend like I'm in it, or I drive and listen to music. So I can kind of try to get in the world and I try out different scenarios. Like I go down this road with that. Nope, I don't like that. This one, oh yeah, like let's keep going there. And every time like there's kind of like a fork in the road, I just kind of go down that way and see if I like it. And if not, I change and then I can go right.
Okay.
So I know every writer probably has a different
method to their madness.
How they do it, but I have to kind of like test the waters a little bit to see what I like. And it also depends on the characters. There are some louder voice characters than others.
Sure.
That I've written where I'm like, gosh, this person literally wrote themselves. Like I didn't have to do anything.
Oh my gosh.
I
just like that'd be such a cool feeling.
It's fun. Like you've read My Love is a Clean Slate. Like Slate wrote himself. I didn't really have to do anything with him.
Yeah.
In all three, he's in 3 books in that series. But like every time he was on the page, like he was just so loud and I knew exactly who he was and what he was going to say. And even sometimes as an author, you worry about how people are going to perceive what this person says or does or chooses. But sometimes it's the character that chooses it. And I'm like, I just had to go with it. Because I tried to, Slate's a little bit of a wild card. I tried to tame him a little bit. And every time I tried, I just didn't feel like it was authentic to him. And I felt like I wasn't writing him how he should be. So with any character I write, I try to let them kind of have the reins because it comes out more authentic in your writing as well.
Totally. And he does have such a bold personality.
Yes, he does.
I love it. So when you, in 2020, and even I guess before that, because I guess you did write a novel when, in 2011 or whatever.
That no one's ever seen.
That no one's ever seen.
And probably never will.
But like, how did you have to like take classes? Like, I don't even know how I would sit down and like learn to write. How did you even learn? Like, I feel like I'd have to be like, so I need to go back to college. I need to learn how to write a book. Like, I just don't even know where to start.
A lot of it I learned from reading. You can learn so much from reading because you see how things are written, at least in my mind, like with grammar and things like that. I did take a class. Oh, gosh, that was a long. I like literally forgot about it until you just said this. I took a creative writing class, but it was just like one of those like continued education classes.
Oh yeah, but like through like UVU.
Yeah, and just like went a couple evenings.
Okay.
But that's all I've done. I do have a really great editor. I mean, she's wonderful. I feel like.
How do you find an editor?
I just Googled.
Really?
Yeah, and I feel like I got so lucky. She's so wonderful.
Is she just like a local gal?
Like, no, she's actually in North Carolina.
What?
I know.
Which also, I love North Carolina. I feel like it is a very dreamy, romantic book place. I've read a lot of books based in North Carolina. Yeah. But, Okay. And then you just like come to her and say like, hey, this is what I'm thinking.
No,
'Cause, like, how do you even, because can't they like turn you down?
for sure. I mean, they have to be open and like, I mean, if she didn't like my book, she would probably tell me like, I don't do this
for
anymore.
sure. Yeah, totally.
But no, I do it all myself. All my plotting, all my ideas, I work on all through myself, and I just send her the book when I feel like it's done. Like I do as much as I can with it,
sure.
with my limited editorial skills.
Yeah.
And then I send it to her. She works her magic. What I love about her is she still keeps my voice. Because that was one thing that I was really worried about with an editor. I'm like, I don't want to make it sound like not me.
Yeah, totally.
Or change it so it sounds smarter.
I'm like, I actually am a fantastic speller. I'm a terrible grammar person. Like, I am not good at writing that kind of stuff. So I for sure need an editor.
But she can take something that I write, make it still sound like me, but it's just so much better. She's just, it's magic. I'm always just like, thank you. So then she sends it back to me. I accept her edits. I go through them all and check them, and then I proofread it and publish it.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Like, so amazing.
Well, like, I do all the formatting for the book as well before like I upload it to Amazon.
Okay.
Then me and my father-in-law, we work on the covers together.
And they're all so cute. And I love them because you totally have like a vibe with your covers, I feel like.
It's probably because it's just me kind of designing them.
Yeah, but it like it fully encompasses you. Like I feel like when I see a book, I'm like, oh, that's very Larissa. Like, do you know what I'm saying?
Good,
like
right?
that's yes. Oh, it's so good because I feel like it's your brand.
Yeah.
Kind of. Like I feel like even again, learning kind of bits and pieces about how all of this works, even like with the podcast stuff, I'm like, when I have to do anything like social media or marketing or anything, I'm like, that's kind of hard for me to like have this same aesthetic look across the board of like, that's me.
Yeah, it is hard to figure out
because
who
I'm
you are
like,
that way.
I feel like I'm a little bit crazy. I sometimes am like, oh, I kind of love this, and I kind of love this, and I kind of love this. So if somebody's like looking at my stuff, they can be like, she's kind of nuts. And I'm like, yes, I am. Join the party. It's a good time, you know? I don't know. It's hard. So I love that you've really been able to encompass like a vibe for sure.
Oh, thank you. I'm excited about that.
Okay, so you said about the first grouping that you did was based on like a group of high school friends, right? Okay, so that's more of like is it considered young adult?
Yes, it's considered young adult romance.
Okay, so young adult romance, and then from there, you take a couple of those characters to college.
Yes, so one of the main girls of the 4 group, her older brother.
Okay, that's right. Yes.
Is in college, and as soon as I wrote him on the page, so he's in Only Us, which is technically the prequel, but I released it as the 4th book. It's very confusing. Don't worry about it. But
just read it
because you can read them standalone. You don't.
Yes.
I mean, it's nice to read more, but you don't have to. As soon as I wrote him on the page, I was like, I have to write a book for him.
Okay.
And so that's where my Waterford University series came out to be. And then I loved writing college. College was super fun. And so then that's considered new adult romance because they're a little older.
Okay.
And so I wrote Wilder's story. I knew I wanted him to have some friends. I knew his best friend was going to be Slate, and he was just like, I want a book, but I knew he had to be last because of his storyline. So then I wrote that series,
which I love.
That series was born. And then I was like, I haven't tried adults. I've been young adult, new adult, and let's try adult. And so that's when I kind of got into the rom-coms.
Yes.
With my series, my Love at Night series, which has 3 books. And I wrote that.
But the 3rd book, you're done with that one, right?
Or the Love at Night series is done.
Yeah,
it's just a 3-book series. And that one's finished.
But it is so cute, guys. I was gonna say the very first one. I don't even remember. I'm terrible. I should remember all the titles.
You read so many books; it's hard to remember them all.
I do, but I do remember the last one was called Up All Night, right?
No, the first one's Up All Night.
Oh, the first
one.
They all
have night. It's very confusing. I should probably not do that anymore.
No. I love it. Okay, but the Up All Night is just a brief synopsis from my point of view.
The first one,
is a downstairs and an upstairs neighbor who essentially hate each other, who then end up coming to find out because they literally live in apartments on top of each other in an older apartment building. They end up starting to talk at night through the floor vents. That's what I was saying before. And that is my favorite. Probably I have literally read hundreds and hundreds of books. That is still so bright in my mind that I would never even think of that. I mean, I remember doing that as kids, like with my
Yeah.
siblings, right? But to have it be in an apartment where they're actually, I think at first he's kind of grumbling about her, or she is about him. And then one of them is like, I can hear you. And it's so cute. It is such a darling book. In fact, all three of them, it's based in San Francisco,
Yeah.
which I also love. And it's so cute to hear about the different places that they visit.
Yes.
And anyway, all three of them are so darling. And I loved, like I said, I loved all three of those ones, but Jax and Kate, like the last
Call It a
one.
Night.
Yes. The third one was, because you obviously had been talking about them for 2 books.
Yes.
And to hear them in that third one, it was magical. It was so good. It was so good. I promise you guys, I'm not like just like trying to build her up. I genuinely love. So like I said, the only one I haven't read is the first 4, the high school ones.
Yeah, because young adults not for everybody.
I know, and that's where I was like, I don't know. I just feel because it's, but then I mean, I really should, just because then I would know too, like how Wilder came into play. But isn't his sister? Isn't she like briefly talked about in the Waterford series too?
Yes, so I overlap those.
Okay,
so Love
so
is
it's like-
Wilder and Only You overlap a little bit. So she goes and visits her brother at college.
That's right. Okay.
And then in Wilder's, it's like he has his sister come visit him in college. So
Okay.
those scenes
Yes.
happen in both books, but from different points of view.
Okay. What's her name?
Savannah.
Okay, I was gonna say, I'm like, I knew that's what it was.
Anyway, seeing Wilder as the older
Yeah.
protective brother is just super cute. So I feel like in Love is Wilder. So I knew I wanted to have that scene in there when I wrote his book.
Yes. Oh my gosh, no, I loved it. Okay, so then now this is your 11th book to release, the
Yes.
novella. What are your plans for next year?
Oh my goodness.
Do you like take any time off? Like, are you?
No.
I
I say I'm going to after every book. I'm
I
like,
know.
first
Like,
series
I'll
or
take a
book,
little
I'm going
break.
to take a break this time.
Yes.
But then I always have ideas rolling around my head, and so then I want to write those ideas. And also with being an indie author, you have like I feel like in order to stay on people's radars, because there's so many books coming out all the time, like every
I
day
know.
is a new release, right?
Yes. Yep.
In order to stay on people's radars, it's like you kind of have to have a book come out every so many months.
Yeah.
And so it's a little grueling that way, but at the same time we love it, and so it's like
it's fine.
I don't know, we just do it. All of us indie authors just keep doing it even though we're tired.
Yes. Okay, but so not even like for the holidays or anything. Like you don't like. Are you like, I think I'm going to take like at least like November and December off? Or are you like really still trying to like sit down every day and like do a little something?
Okay, so the last few, I guess a month, I have not been writing.
Okay.
I've been focused on Mistletoe Meetup and launching that book because launching a book takes quite a bit of work.
Yes.
And
yeah, like all the marketing and everything.
plus, I did want a teeny bit of a break because
Yeah.
this will be my 4th book releasing this year.
Oh.
And so it's kind of a lot.
That's
I'm like,
wild.
oh.
See, and I'm like, I'm sorry, you cannot take a break. I'm going to need some more from you.
Well, that's what's so fun though. Like
I know.
I like that my readers want more from me.
Yeah.
That's exciting and very complimentary of my writing.
Well, I've told some other people about your books, and
Oh,
they have
thank
been like,
you.
oh my gosh, did you read the 3rd one yet? I'm like, of course I did.
Of course.
It literally started the day it came out.
That's good. So my problem right now is I don't know what book I have 3 books that I am thinking about writing, but they are not connected.
Okay.
So with Mistletoe Meetup, I would love to go back to Mistletoe Meadows. I just think it's so cute and so fun. So I was thinking about, so the main girl's name is Sage. Her grandma Mabel. She has some grandkids. I was gonna have it be another one of her grandchildren. So it'd be Sage's
Okay.
cousin.
Yes.
I was gonna have her name be Ruby.
Ooh, I'm very partial to that.
And so I'm thinking, but I mean, obviously that wouldn't release until next year, 2025.
So it would be another Christmas
This
one?
would be like another Christmas
Okay.
novella, which would be a companion novel to Mistletoe Meetup.
But that would be so fun to do one a year and have a
Yeah, and
connected.
there's one more cousin, so I was like, I
Yeah.
could do 3 years of that, which would be super fun. Cause I really enjoyed writing that book, and sometimes some books are harder to write than others.
Sure.
And this one was just super fun. I don't know. So I'm like, well, that'd be kind of fun just to write during Christmas time, just
Yeah.
for me. So I know it won't be coming out for like a year, but just something that I would want to do. So it's kind of technically a break because there's no like deadline on it, right?
Yes. Yeah.
But then I wrote a short story, which I haven't released yet,
Okay.
And it's a hockey romance. And
Ooh.
a short story is like short. It's just kind of giving you a sample of my writing style
Okay.
that I will give for free in exchange for your email for it to be a subscriber for my newsletter.
Yep.
Everyone subscribe.
I'm gonna put all this information on the Instagram. Don't worry.
So all my newsletter subscribers will get this free short story.
Okay.
And there's a character in there that it happens where I'm like,
Yeah.
I wrote him for just a minute and I was like, I would love to do a book on him. His name's Zeke and he's a hockey player. Obviously hockey romance is huge.
I love hockey romances.
I said I was never going to write hockey romance. But never say never, I guess. Because I'm like, well, it'd be fun if I'm just doing a short story. But then I started researching hockey and I was like, this is fun.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
It is fascinating. I knew nothing about hockey until I started reading all these hockey romances. But my husband's actually a huge hockey fan because he grew up in Chicago.
Yes.
And they have the Blackhawks. And now that Utah has
and now
the hockey
Utah
club,
is having their hockey.
oh my gosh, I'm like all in. Except I want
It's
them
so
to figure
fun.
out a freaking name.
I know.
But I want them to be the Utah Yetis.
I do too. That's the one I wanted them to go with too.
And my husband keeps saying, but what is a Yeti? And I'm like, it is a mythical monster, essentially. What is it like when they say,
Snowman.
yeah, I'm like, abominable snowman. I'm like, but it's cool.
It
Like,
is
it's just,
cool.
it's
Actually, they have
so
a
like
cool
Utah.
logo.
Yes. I know. I'm all about it. Anyway,
yeah.
okay.
So I
So
did. So I
Zeke and
thought, well, I'll
hockey,
just
love
dip
it.
my toes with hockey romance with a short
Okay.
story. But then
Okay.
I like researched, and I'm like, this is like really fun. I really like sports romance.
Yep. Me too.
My Waterford University is like football, and I really enjoyed that. And so
good.
Zeke is a friend of the main male character in my hockey one, and so I was like, I would love to do. He kind of has an interesting story, and so I'm like, oh, I'd love to do one with him. So that's another book. So I might
Okay.
do a hockey romance.
Do you think it would be just a one-off? I
don't know.
love series so much. My friend Kate is always like, every time I talk to you, you're like, I just happened upon another series. I'm like, but I think that it's because I love that there's a next one and the next one. And then sometimes when I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to wait till next April to get like, you know, but then I have like all of these ones that have popped up this year, right? I feel like one a week has been like, oh, it just released. And then sometimes it takes me a minute, like, wait, which one is it? And then I start reading and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is the one I've been waiting for.
Yes.
For 8 months, you know?
I mean,
so I love that.
Right now, I only have planned Zeke's book. I mean,
Okay.
you could go back and read
Sure.
the short story of the other character, but I'm assuming that Zeke's going to have some hockey player friends. If I had to guess. That could spin off into more books for sure.
Let's do it.
And then I have been wanting to write this series for at least probably a year and a half.
Oh, I think you told me that.
It is swimming.
Yes! I love it so
my
much.
son is a competitive swimmer, and I just love the swimming world.
He's a very talented.
He's a very talented swimmer. And so actually last November, I started writing the swimming book. I'd written up all night.
Yep, yeah.
And I was like, gosh, I'm just really missing the sports romance. So I started writing it. I got about 20,000 words in, really liking it. It has secret identity, which I just really like that trope.
Okay.
But then as I was learning more about writing, they just kind of said it's not great as an indie author to start too many series at once. It's better to start a series because then it can compound on each other because you pick up readers each book and then they go back and read.
Okay.
You're the one, so
past
for
books.
your like momentum, it's
Mhm.
better to keep your series. And so I'm like, so I stopped writing that swimming book and then wrote the second one in the Love at Night series, which is Late Nights.
Okay.
And finished that series. So now I'm like, now I kind of want to go back. I mean, I have 20,000 words in. I should go back to that. So I don't know what I'm going to write next. It's either a Christmas one or a swimming one or a hockey one.
Those all sound fantastic, though.
The swimming one, though, is a 3-book series. I already
Okay.
know all the characters'
Yes.
names and like most of their stories-ish. So I kind of want to write those. So we'll see. Because I think swimming would be so fun and it's not oversaturated yet.
Oh my! I'm granted, I don't know. There's millions of books out there, but I have not heard of any swimming ones.
Yeah, I mean, your big ones are hockey, football, and baseball.
Yeah.
Those are your 3
Yeah,
really big
and I have done all of those.
sports romance. I mean, obviously there's other ones like soccer
Yeah.
and basketball and stuff, but those are your
Totally.
3 biggies. But I love the swimming world, and I'm like, I feel like these people should be talked about more
Yes,
in
and I was
books.
gonna say, and I feel like because you know it so well, it would be easier in my mind to write about it.
So I'm excited. And
Yeah, I love
I mean,
that.
with the Olympics that just happened,
Yeah.
I was listening to just different things. And because at first I started as a new adult, I was going to have it be in college,
Mm-hmm.
but I really liked the adults. So I was like, well, how can I make me be adult? But then I was really realizing all these athletes, they train at universities, even though they're not
Oh, yeah.
a college student.
Yes.
So I can still have my university vibe, but they're
But
adult.
they're adult. Yes.
I mean, still like mid-20s probably.
Sure. Yeah, we're not. I mean, their brains aren't fully developed, but.
But we'll
Oh my
see. So
gosh, I
that's
love this.
kind of
This
what's
is
in the works.
very, very exciting. Very exciting. Like I said, she'd already kind of mentioned the swimming one to me, but I just am obsessed. I love it. I just think that I think you're so fascinating in all of your
Oh my
in
goodness.
everything that you do. And we've talked about this too. You guys, I'm sorry to like keep repeating myself, but I do ask a lot of questions while we do hair. But how do you even come up with the character names? So there was
my goodness.
one time though, this was so fun, that she had put on Instagram, basically like, how did you word it? Like the most like unique, cute, fun name that they'd ever heard. Like something
Yeah, I
like
just
that.
wanted unique male character names because
That's
I
right,
like to have
that's
a little
right.
bit different names.
Yes.
I don't know if you've noticed with my names.
Yes,
They're a
but
little
I feel
bit
like
different.
they're all so cute. They're ones that I'm like, I kind of wish I would have known about those names, like when I was having kids, you know?
So I take character names very seriously.
Okay,
I know not everyone does. Everyone just puts a name in sometimes because I've asked other authors, I'm like, did you have a hard time? They're like, no. And I'm like, oh, me either. No, I
Yeah, I
say
feel like it's just like picking a child's name where you're like, oh, I know so and so named that and they were weird and so you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like,
it's like, oh, or like so when I with Wilder,
Yep.
I knew he was gonna have a book even before I finished Savannah's book in the Lake Shores High
Okay.
Seas. So I hadn't thought of Savannah's last name yet, but I knew
Oh.
Wilder was gonna have a book. So I was like, I care more about Wilder. Is that so awful?
yes, no, it's
I was just
not.
so excited about him.
Yes.
So I picked a last name that would go well with his name,
Okay.
and I just gave that to Savannah,
yes.
obviously,
Yes.
because his is Wilder Brooks, and I feel like Savannah Brooks. That sounds good, but like
so cute.
I have to make sure for me that their first and last names sound good.
Yep.
I like it so it's not hopefully so overused. I'm more picky with the male name than the woman
female.
for some reason. I just
Well, because I feel like I don't know. I feel like women, like girls' names there's a bajillion of them.
Yeah.
And male ones that are different and unique are harder to come by, for
Yeah.
sure. It is just a harder thing to come up with. I would think at least.
Yeah. I know. And when I was doing the Mistletoe meetup and I was mentioning the cousins' names, I'm like, I have to think of like names already, even though their books aren't written because they're going to be main characters
Yes.
at some point.
Yep. Totally.
And I wanted something with Christmas. So like Sage is green, right? Ruby
oh,
is red.
yes.
And
cute.
then the other, it's going to be a
See, I
boy.
would never have thought about that.
The boy cousin, his name is Cole.
Oh my gosh.
Because he's going to be a grump.
Yes.
He's not going to be way
Yes.
into Christmas.
Little
So,
broody.
I mean, I do try to think of sometimes things like that,
Yeah.
but I don't know. I'm really weird about names. I just think about it forever. I Google forever. But when I put that post out there, oh my gosh, I got so many good names.
Really?
I made a huge list. So for a Mistletoe meetup, the main guy's name is Madden.
Okay.
He was
so
one
cute.
that someone gave me that I just really liked. But there is a whole bunch, and I'm like, I'm gonna have to write like so many books just
I know,
so I
just
can use all
to
these
use
names that people gave me. They're so good. My swimming series, I'm super excited about all the boy names. Do you want me to tell you them?
Yes, please. We're ready.
Okay,
We're
so
ready.
the first book will be Talon.
Okay, cute.
It'll be
cute.
Talon Everhart.
Ooh.
Talon is gonna have a twin brother named Ridge. I know it's kind of different. Ridge
Nope,
Everhart.
love
But
it.
he'll be book 3, and then
Okay.
book 2 is Ledger. He'll be Ledger Hayes.
Oh,
I'm
cute.
super excited
oh my
about
gosh, those are fantastic.
And then
Ledger Hayes, that sounds very like that.
I know I'm excited about
Yeah,
his book.
that's fantastic.
That won't be an enemies to lover. His girl's name is Roxy, but
Oh, cute.
so it'll be fun. And I got Lola for Ridge. So it'll be Ridge and Lola, Ledger and Roxy, and then Talon and Libby.
cute. Oh my
So I know
gosh,
I think of
love
these
it.
names for a long time.
Yes.
Maybe someone out there
But
is like,
again-
those are ugly, but
No.
I love them.
No, because this is the thing is again, when you're like thinking about characters, I mean, it's just like all of these books that have been now made into movies, right? And in your mind, when you're reading them, you have like, oh, I think this is what they look like based on how they're kind of described.
Yeah.
And then sometimes the author will put out like the, kind of a character like look, or they'll like kind of, oh my gosh, what is the word I'm looking for? They're like, make it so that like, oh, this is who they would be if they were like a celebrity.
Oh, like cast them as a
Yes,
celebrity.
yes. Or even like I said, just even right now with like, It Ends With Us.
Yeah.
Where like, I'm like, those are literally not who I would have thought. Once I watched the movie, I was like, okay. But it's still like in my mind was not I don't know.
Picture.
So like when you're reading a book and you are talking about a character, or you're listening and reading about a character, in your mind you put like them together, like who this is in my mind. So to have a great name begins that whole like exercise of like, who is this person?
Yeah.
I
mean, one of my favorite names that I've put together is Wilder Brooks.
Yes.
And I feel like it goes so well with his character because he's a big man on campus.
Yes.
He's supposed to be so good looking, the quarterback, just like, and when you hear the name Wilder Brooks, you just, for me anyway,
I just like so strong.
And
like
just
so,
like suave and
yes.
just, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like kind of a little bit playerish maybe. I don't know. It just fit him perfectly. So I was really excited about that.
Do you feel like then, like as a follow-up question, that in your mind you see what they look like? Because you're writing them. Or is it not like that? Because
I know that's hard because when I read or write, I have a basis for their face, but I don't know. I feel like they all kind of look similar in my head.
Sure.
It's more of like I care about their hair color and their eye color.
Okay.
For me, and everything else can kind of just be whatever.
Sure.
I want people to picture what they find
want.
attractive.
Yes.
Because everyone finds different people attractive and different features.
Yeah.
But so it's like if I can just give you hair color, eye color, and maybe just kind of body stature a little bit, then you can put in all the other details so that it's what you like and what you find attractive.
Totally.
So
have you ever then done that though, where you have like picked a celebrity as like, this is who I would think it would be?
Oh yeah, I mean not always, but with
my, because there's like websites that do this.
No.
Oh my gosh,
I should do this.
Okay, so sometimes at book club when we're like we've read a book, we will go. I don't even know what the website is. I'm gonna have to like look it up.
Yeah.
Because we'll like type in who, and then people like put together like casts essentially for like people in the book,
that would
like
be fun.
who they would think.
I've really only done it with my Live at Night series, and I say it in the book. I mean, West is Paul Walker.
Yes,
so I had like the biggest crush on him.
Yes,
and then
because he was our
generation.
Our generation, yes, totally.
In late nights, canon is like a Henry Cavill. His
last
name? I don't even know.
Oh, I don't even know either. I think it's Cavill. He's very handsome.
Cavill, something like that. He's very handsome.
Yes.
And then Jax is Theo James. I kind of have a him picture like that.
Okay. Yes.
So, I mean, those kind of have their characters, but all my other guys, I don't really have a certain person for them.
Interesting. Because I feel like, I don't know if I were to like write a character. I don't know. Like I said, it like boggles my mind. I feel like I would just be like a blank, like a. There's nothing coming to mind. Nothing. But that doesn't mean it's never going to happen.
Yeah.
I'll put that onto the universe right now. I would love to write a book. I don't know if it'll be like I said, like a novel, or if it would just be like a
nonfiction.
Yeah. Well, and just so you know, this is what your life's going to be like when you're a parent, things that nobody tells you.
People would love that.
And I love the what is it? Like there's been like Instagram things too of people saying like, never in my life did I ever think I would have to tell my kid to like stop licking something, or you know what I mean? Like quotes or like jokes about things like that. I'm like, that is something I'm like, I need to like just start a tally, like a list of like
things you thought you'd never say as a parent.
Yes, that's exactly it. And I'm like, I'm sure there's something like already out there, but I'm like, oh my gosh, there are so many things that I, on a daily basis, I'm like, who would have thought? Who would have thought I'd have to like, let's, why do we have to talk about that? Like, come on, you guys.
Kids are funny.
Kids are so crazy. I know. Anyway, so I admire you so much. So like I said, I love to read. I've always loved to read as well. I feel like I really got away from it for years when I had kids. Because I feel like anytime I like sat down, I was like falling asleep. Like it was not even an option to read a book. And then I started again really reading like 2 years ago. And it was because my sister-in-law had wanted to start a book club. And I was like, sure, I'll jump on the bandwagon. And it's been downhill from there. In fact, my husband is always like, you were like a wood chipper with books. I'm like,
it's so fun. There's just so many good books.
Oh my gosh. And and he's like, you don't like how do you like jump from book to book to book? And I'm like, I don't know. I just like
You
can't.
just do it.
And I've even started now to meet my goal. So my goal on Goodreads this year, because I didn't even know that was a thing, and I didn't even like count my books last year. I think I
Oh my
like
goodness.
tried
Yeah,
to.
you gotta
I
count
know,
them.
what was I thinking? So going into this year, I had set a very lofty goal, but I was like, okay, my kids are a little older. I'm driving so much that I feel like, and it's not even the driving, it's that when I have to sit and wait for them.
Yes.
Like, I'm always like, where I can like read 15, 20 minutes. Think about even like the dentist or the orthodontist or anything like that. And so I was like, I'm going to read 150 books this year. I definitely got some laughs. I
don't think that's that crazy.
I know some of my book club friends are like,
oh my gosh.
Really? That's lofty. I'm like, I know it's lofty, but I think I can do it.
Yeah.
So I like mapped it out because that's how weird I am. I'm like, hey, this is like how many I need to do per month, which actually sounds crazy because I think it was like 12 and a half a month or something. But like some months were busier than others, some were slower than others. And so it was like some months I was able to get like 18 books in. I was reading
do you do audiobooks too?
So now I am. Because
like then you can do it while you're cooking, cleaning, driving.
Yes.
I mean, there's just always time.
My mind wanders.
Oh,
that is my problem. I like need to be able to sit and read. So I had only started, so I've only done 3 audiobooks this year. The third, actually I'm like I guess I'm currently on my 4th. I just finished my 3rd one. And it was only because it was books for book club that I couldn't get like on Libby or I didn't want to like buy or whatever. And so, but they happened to have them through Audible or whatever. And so I listened to those and they've been great, fantastic. I'm getting better at it. I feel like where I can like listen more. But I for some reason I can do it when I'm doing like yard work. I can listen, but I can't do it while I'm cleaning. I don't know. It's like the weirdest thing. I know, and even cooking because I feel like everyone keeps talking to me. Like they're constantly
you can't have people talking to you.
Yes, and then I can't hear anything, and I'm like, hello. Like, can you see my earplugs, my headphones? Like, but they can't because like my hair's down or anyway. So I feel like everyone just is like talking to me. But like this weekend, I was like setting up all my Thanksgiving decor and putting all my Halloween down, and I got through like hours of a book, and that was fantastic because everyone was kind of leaving me alone. But so now I have been doing where I can do 2 books at a time. So I'm listening to one. So again, like I said, I'm getting better, and I'm reading another one. So like
that's
one
what
on my
I do.
Kindle.
I always have one that I'm reading and one that I'm listening to. I mean, I don't get to read as much as I wish, like sit down and read, because I have this little voice in my head that's like, you should be writing, and you should be marketing, and you should do that. And I'm like, well, stop it.
Totally.
Where the audiobooks are just great because it's like, well, I'm doing X, Y, and Z, so I can't be writing anyway. Or you're waiting for your kids or whatever.
Totally.
And you don't realize how much you drive, and once you get older kids that can't drive yet.
Yep, totally.
And I just feel like I'm in the car a lot, and so it helps that I can listen to audiobooks. And there's so many books I want to read.
So many books. In fact, I keep having. Do you have a problem where on Kindle Unlimited, I keep adding them to my library, and it's like you have too many books in your life.
Yes, I'm always maxed out on my Kindle Unlimited. I'm like, for sure.
I know, but I need these on my list so I don't forget them. Or I like just keep adding them to my Amazon list and then I forget about them and then I don't even go back and I just like always have a million that I want to read.
Well, it's hard too because being on Bookstagram, people are posting about new books all the time, about books they love, and I'm like, that does sound good.
Yeah,
so
I do want
to adding, and just the TBR list is just
totally
crazy.
I love that TBR. I have not used that. I need
to be read. I know there's all these things in the Bookstagram world that people are like, what does that mean?
Which is so cute.
I know. I love it.
That's so fun. Okay, how about this then? Since let's get finished up here.
Okay.
What if there is someone out there who is kind of feeling the same way, that like I want to potentially like write a book? What advice, now that you've been doing it for a few years, would you offer them? Like where to get started? Would you say a creative writing class? Or would you say like, listen, if you want to just do it, just do research?
I mean, you can totally do research. You can take a class, but I think the best thing is just to sit down and write.
Okay.
I mean, that's going to be your best thing because you can always edit. Yeah. Just because you write it down that very first time doesn't mean that's the final product.
Mm-hmm.
I think just trying to write and get your story out there on paper is step 1.
Yeah.
And then you can go back and tweak it and add it and delete it. And I mean, you can do so much with it once you have it.
For sure.
But I would just say, just trying to take time to actually sit down and write is going to be your number one.
Okay.
Because if you just keep thinking about it, or even taking classes,
Yes.
you still aren't writing yet.
Totally.
It's still not coming to fruition. And so I just think once you have something written down, you have something you can work with.
Yeah. Well, and that's kind of how I've said about the whole podcasting. Like if I waited until everything was perfect, I never would have done it.
Yeah.
Like I was just like, I just got to do it. So hopefully each time the audio's a little better, the video's a little better. Sorry about the dog today. I'm like, the garbage truck's outside. I'm not really sure what's happening there. But yeah, I just feel like, I'm tweaking every single week. So I think that's like with most things, but I love that. I think that's actually fantastic advice because a lot of times you just have to do it. Like with most things, people can just be like, I'm going to get to it. I'm going to get to it and I'm going to get to it. But it's
you're
like,
never
just
going to be
freaking
perfect
do it.
at it. Like I'm not a perfect author just because I've been doing this for a few years.
Totally.
And another thing that's really hard with writing that I really struggled with in the beginning and even to this day, I feel like just recently in the last maybe 6 months, I've been able to say I'm an authher. Like it took years and several books to.
That's actually true because I had no idea you wrote books for a very long time.
I felt like an imposter.
Sure.
Like because I didn't take books or not books. I didn't take classes or I don't have a degree in English or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just a person that sat down on their computer one day and wrote.
And wanted to write.
You know. So I think that's just having some confidence in yourself that like, no, if you write or if you do a podcast, like you are an author or you are, what would you call yourself? A
podcaster?
Yeah. Okay. I'm like, I don't know like the right lingo.
Yeah.
Like you are that.
Yeah.
Whether you're working on a book or you have 10 books, like you're an author. And I think that took me a really long time.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I get the question all like, what do you do for work? And I'd always be like, oh, I don't do anything. My husband's like, no, you write books.
Yeah.
I was like, oh yeah, I kind of write books. You know? I'm just like, no, you do
I'm actually
write
pretty sure that is exactly how it came across. You're like, oh, I just like wrote a book. I'm like, you what? But I feel like that I've been doing hair for 20 years and I still feel like sometimes I'm like, I can't believe people like let me do this to their hair. I don't know, but it feels, I very, very much feel like an imposter sometimes. Like, I think that's why sometimes when I'm like looking at something, I'm like, oh my gosh, I did that.
Yeah.
Like, and it feels still very surreal, which I know sounds crazy, but even after 20 years, I still feel like that.
And so I still kind of like, I feel like literally probably just 6 months, I've been finally being like, I'm an author. Like I'm trying to like get used to it a little bit more. Cause then people ask, well, how many books do you have? And I was like, oh, my 10th one's coming out. And they're like, 10? And
That's what I feel like, that's huge.
So now with my 11th, I'm like, okay, fine. Maybe it just took 10 books for me to feel
to
like
be
an
like,
author. I don't know.
Also, last night my kids are like, so who are you podcasting with tomorrow? I'm like, oh, my friend Melissa, she's an author. Like, and they were like, well, how many books does she have out? I'm like 12? And they were like, really? Yeah, because I'm like, I couldn't remember. Because I was like, I know for sure there's at least 10, but then, I'm like, I couldn't remember. But anyway, I don't know. Like I said, I just admire you. I have talked about you often. I hope you know that.
So sweet.
You're not just a client. You are very much a dear friend. But I just think everything you're doing is so fun and cool. And I don't know. I just think, just keep going.
Oh, thank you.
Because
when you wanted to have
needs your books.
When you wanted to have me on here, I'm like, me? Why?
Because you're an author.
Okay.
Yes. But no, I think I would feel the same way. Like, what do you talk? But you do. I think you are a wealth of knowledge, and I think that your story is so unique because you didn't start. Like,
I didn't.
I didn't go to college.
One.
Yes, I didn't go to college for this, and I didn't do this, or because I have talked to other people. I actually have a cousin who writes some books, and but same, like she kind of did that in college, and then when her kids got older, then she like started taking all of these classes, and anyway, and it's, I don't know. So I was like, I saw her story be a little bit different.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I think every single author is like
that. Every author story.
And some just kind of fall into it. And then there's some that that I've read that it's actually two authors together.
Yes.
And I'm like, that
blows
my mind. Yeah. But they do, like, there's, a few different ones, and there's a couple that I follow like on Instagram, or not even on Instagram, on just like I get their emails, and they will literally go and spend a weekend like a beach house or something together, and they're just like best friends, and they just write an entire book in a weekend, and I'm like,
how do you do that?
Yes, like that. I've been like, let's go to the beach. What are we doing tonight? Let's watch a movie. Let's go to eat. Like I don't think I could.
Could like hunker
Yes,
down.
hunker down. Yeah, I've been like, no, let me sit in my boring office because that is where I won't get distracted.
Yeah.
Anyway, so. Well, thank you for coming. I really am honored. I really think
thank
you're
you.
so fantastic and so fun. And
Thank
I
you.
am very excited about your swimming series.
I know. I gotta get that one going.
Yes. But okay, so November 18th, Mistletoe Meetup.
Yeah.
Based in Mistletoe Meadows. So cute. But I will make sure that I link everything so that people can do it. And is it going to be on Kindle Unlimited?
Yes, it'll be on Kindle
Oh,
Unlimited.
I do love that because I pay for Kindle Unlimited every
I
month.
just feel like when you read romance, you're reading so many.
Yes.
It's just like
So
it
this
just
is
makes
my
more
thing.
sense financially for people.
100%. But I
read like
have
that.
recently come across where they will do like their first two on Kindle Unlimited, and then
so
the next
then
ones you have to pay. I'm like, son of a gun.
I'm a fan of Kindle Unlimited
yes,
myself, and so I want to offer my
totally.
books on there.
Yeah,
So.
no, I love it. I love it. So it'll be on Kindle Unlimited. If you don't have it, get a free trial right now because you will love it.
It'll be
am
available on
Unlimited.
ebook if you're not. Like,
Oh,
like
yes,
you can buy it.
Okay, yeah, and
on ebook
Amazon
or
too.
paperback. So it's on Amazon in all formats. So except for audio, I'm not there yet. But.
Oh. I'm like, that would be hard to like find people to voice those characters too. That's like a whole nother
different level that I need to research.
Yes.
But
oh my gosh, that feels crazy.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
Yes.
This was so fun.